There are, of course, storylines that go beyond hockey. Gord Downie, the lead singer of the Tragically Hip, it was known that he was dying for over a year. They went on a big farewell tour. I didn't personally witness it. I know a lot of Canadians did. And the Tragically Hip is a band made up of Canadian icons, and their music plays at Canadian arenas and will till the end of time. Courage gets played a lot. Locked in the Trunk of a Car, Music at Work, Bob Cajun. It depends on the arena, but you'll usually hear at least one Tragically Hip song during a game. And my favorite was Music at Work. And I was never a huge fan of theirs, but I remember they played a concert of theirs once on CFox, and I enjoyed it. I listened to the concert and I genuinely enjoyed it. I will admit that his interaction with fans, his interaction with the crowd seemed genuine, and he seemed like a really good person. And Canada loses something, and hockey loses something. He was very active in terms of hockey. He enjoyed hockey quite a bit, as most Canadians do. So what's Dave Strader doing on here? Well, see, when Dave Strader passed on, I mentioned it in passing, and I left it at that. And it's not a lack of caring, as same for Gord Downie. When asked earlier today, are you going to do a video on that? I thought, geez, I don't know how. See, at a certain point in life, and I'm in my mid-40s, this starts to creep in. You know, I see Ed Olczyk tearing up before the game, talking about, this is his therapy, that he's been, going through cancer therapy, and now calling a hockey game for him is therapy. You have Brian Boyle going through treatments that before the season we were basically told, it's no big deal, he'll be fine, he shouldn't miss any time. To my knowledge, he still hasn't played a game, and nothing gets said. And you look at the injured list and it just shows cancer. It's a scary word. It's one that, like I said, once you get into your 40s, it starts to mess with your head a little bit. And Dave Strader, great announcer, great career, beloved man in broadcasting. Gord Downie, a Canadian icon, and I'm not sure how well known in the United States Tragically Hip is. I know they've toured the States. I know they've had songs that have cracked, I think, the top 100, but, Canada, he's an icon. So for Americans out there wondering why a video, he's an icon. I can't count how many times I've watched some big Canadian Hockey Day celebration where they either play Tragically Hip music at the start of it, or they actually have the Tragically Hip on, which is good, because if I have to hear Tom Cochran's Big League one more time, I may not make it. It's Tom Cochran's Big League song. The kid dies halfway through the song, and everybody acts like it's this big hockey anthem, and it's like the kid's dead. Anyhow, Tragically Hip music is uniquely Canadian, in that he never sang about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He just sang about what he knew and life, and Ontario and parts of Canada, and it was very personal. So yeah, his passing does affect me in that he's 53, which is within a decade of my age, and he lived life. In my eyes, he seems to have lived it in a way that he wouldn't have changed a thing if he could have. And I think there's something beautiful about that. And Ron McLean said before the game that, now he can watch all of the games at once wherever he has gone. And I'm not going to get into discussions of afterlife and things of that nature, but it's a beautiful sentiment. It's a beautiful sentiment that if there's a hockey center ice package in the sky, he's got it, he's watching it, and he's got his feet up right now. It's something I don't do videos on, and again, I'm going back to Dave Strader passing because it is intensely personal, and it is something that is not always easy to discuss, because subscribers out there could be going through any number of things, and part of sports is an escape from that. For instance, whenever a political subject of any sort comes up, you will always have people who say, no, we don't come here to discuss this. So when you discuss this blank space here, which is where Eddie Olczyk, Brian Boyle, and others who are dealing with health issues we don't even know about right now, it is sports related. It's important to talk about. But for me, it's a blank space in that we don't know where it's going to end, and you can't speculate on that. I can sit here for days and speculate on which team's going to win which division and who's going to miss the playoffs, and that's fun, and which player's going to make it and which player's not going to make it, and I can do list videos on greatest and worst and whatever else. But when it comes down to this kind of subject matter, I don't even know how to approach it. I didn't know Gord Downie. I never met him. Like I said, I never went to a Tragically Hip concert. Would I have? I probably could have on their last tour, and it didn't really interest me. Now, if I could have sat down with Gord Downie and had a beer with him, abso-freaking-lutely. If I could sit down with the members of Tragically Hip and discuss his life and his loves and all that stuff, would I do it? Absolutely. I'm far more interested in the personal side of this than the musical side. Same with this. Same with Olczyk. Same with Boyle. If I could sit down and have a beer with any of them, I absolutely would. I don't even drink beer. But absolutely I would. So, it is something that's worthy of being mentioned, and under this as well is John Dunsworth. John Dunsworth played the drunk trailer park supervisor, Mr. Leahy, on Trailer Park Boys. The redheaded, lovely Sarah on that show is his real-life daughter, Sarah Dunsworth. And she announced that he passed quietly after a short but unexpected illness, and that he died peacefully. And again, you know, this is a Canadian icon. Trailer Park Boys is as Canadian as you can get. Letterkenny and Trailer Park Boys are about as Canadian as it gets. So if anybody's like, how is it really like in Canada? Well, watch these two, take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, and you're pretty accurate. I lived in a trailer park, and it was a lot like that. We had a drunk trailer park supervisor. The best story I can tell of that is the drunk trailer park supervisor coming around the park, and he yelled at us kids to get out of the street, because, you know, a car could run us over. I think we were playing road hockey. So fine, we went out, we were playing in the backyard. And then he came down again, still drunk, yelling at us to get the hell out of the backyard, and, you know, we're making too much noise. And my next door neighbor came out in his long underwear on the porch and said, you told them they can't play in the fucking street. You told them they can't play in the backyard. Where the hell else are they supposed to play? On the bloody roof? And the supervisor just drove away. We never saw him again that night. Now, I don't know if it's because my neighbor had guns and knew how to shoot them, but he didn't come back. And that to me is as Trailer Park Boys as it gets. That was you know, that my next door neighbor would chop wood in his living room. That was normal in my life. That was, you'd go in their house and there'd be wood chips all over the carpet, because of course there are. So yeah, this is part of Canadian everything. John Dunsworth, Canadian. Strader, Dallas announcer, Dallas, but hockey, so therefore, that's Canadian too. So, to me, it's a matter of enjoying what we have while we have it, and I try to make sure that when I'm producing content for you guys that I do it with a spirit that's like that. So, you guys can let me know what you think, your favorite Gord Downie story if you have one, your favorite Tragically Hip song if you have one, Tragically Hip album, concert you went to, and pass that along, and even post links to videos if you want, and if YouTube tries to snag them and think that they're spam, I'll allow them, because that's what I'll do. Because for people in the States who may not know, people worldwide who may not know, they were a unique band. And I may not have preferred their music to other kinds of music, but it's worth listening to, and all of their songs have a message to them. And in a time where music just seems more and more synthetic and less organic, this guy's as organic as he could get, and Tragically Hip was Canadian. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And I hope that if he's looking down watching games tonight, he enjoys what he sees. So there you go. That's it from me. Thanks for watching.